give me 100% when they might have not been interested in it.
Aron Kaufman was the beating heart of Fast and Loud for 6 unforgettable years. Fans were mesmerized as he transformed rusted, forgotten vehicles into high-octane works of art, often under crushing deadlines that seemed impossible to meet. But in 2017, Aron did the unthinkable. He walked away from millions of dollars. The cameras never captured the full story. Behind the scenes, tensions with Richard Rawlings had reached a breaking point. Disagreements over money, creative authority, and the direction of the business escalated into betrayals Aron never anticipated. He realized that, unknowingly, he was grooming someone to take over his own role. The tipping point came during a dangerous truck build that almost caused serious injury. What Aron did next shocked everyone watching Discovery Channel and changed the narrative forever. Rising from setbacks.
Fenders. I kind of view fenders kind of the same way. It's like this area here was in our way.
Aron was born on January 26, 1982, in Crowley, Texas, into a family that had very little. His father, David Gerald Kaufman, worked 12-hour days as a mechanic, earning only $8.50 an hour in 1992. Life in a cramped trailer park meant Aron shared a tiny room with his younger brother, Jared. Despite these challenges, something remarkable was already unfolding. At just 10 years old, Aron disassembled a broken lawnmower using only a kitchen knife and screwdriver, and didn't just put it back together. He improved it, increasing its power by roughly 15%. This wasn't mere luck. It was the result of countless nights poring over his father's repair manuals, sometimes falling asleep with grease-stained pages still clutched in his hands. He was teaching himself the art of mechanics in secrecy, long before anyone realized the genius he was becoming. By the age of 8, Aron had already learned to drive his grandfather's 1968 Ford F-100. That truck wasn't merely a vehicle, it was his sanctuary, a place where he felt free and alive. The smell of gasoline and motor oil became permanently etched into his memory, an inspiration that would follow him for life. At 12, he turned the backyard into a fully functional workshop, building go-karts out of lawnmower engines and shopping carts. These weren't simple toys. Some could reach 35 miles per hour on local streets. He also taught himself welding, using a borrowed stick welder. But his learning came with a price. In December 1994, one of his homemade exhaust systems exploded, molten metal searing his right arm so badly that he required 23 stitches. His dominant arm was rendered useless for 6 weeks. Despite his mother's concern and demands to stop, Aron had already hidden more tools in a shed behind the trailer. That same week, the family had to spend their entire $200 holiday budget on hospital bills instead of Christmas gifts, a memory that would stay with him forever, shaping his work ethic and resilience. High school didn't fit Aron. In 1998, he skipped 127 out of 180 days, not because he was lazy, but because he was already hustling. For just $4.25 an hour, he repaired cars at unlicensed garages throughout Dallas County. At 16, he completed a transmission rebuild that 3 certified mechanics had declared impossible, earning his first substantial paycheck, $200. One day, the school principal discovered $1,400 in his locker, more than most adults in Crowley made in a month. His shop teacher, recognizing Aron's unique talent, quietly supported him by protecting his schooling despite his absences. Nights were spent sneaking out through his bedroom window, flashlight in hand, covered in oil and burn marks, as his parents feared he was harming himself, never realizing he was chasing his dream in silence. At 18, in January 2000, Aron dropped out of college after only 1 semester, despite a 3.7 GPA and a partial scholarship of $3,200 per year. His father was devastated, having worked extra shifts to pay tuition. But Aron had made a firm decision. Traditional classrooms weren't for him. One engineering professor had dismissed his custom transmission design as unrealistic, even though Aron had built it himself using only $50 in junk parts. Behind the scenes, He was already $4,800 in debt from buying tools and borrowing from high-interest lenders. Dropping out forced the family to live by candlelight for 3 months, while Aron searched tirelessly for paying repair jobs to keep them afloat. Earlier, on September 12, 1999, Aron had risked life and limb modifying a dirt bike, boosting it from 46 to 78 horsepower. While attempting a 15-foot jump at 65 miles per hour, he crashed, shattering his wrist in 3 places. Doctors inserted 2 titanium pins, and the $8,400 surgery forced the family to sell their 1968 Ford F-100, the very truck that had started Aron's journey. That same accident also reinforced Aron's understanding that real engineering always comes with risk, and that passion sometimes demands sacrifice. By 2002, Aron's life took a dramatic turn. At just 20 years old, he met Richard Rawlings in a Dallas garage. Richard immediately recognized Aron's rare talent and offered him a position at his newly opened Gas Monkey garage. Aron became the lead fabricator, shaping not just cars, but the identity of the shop itself. Over the years, he built the foundation for a brand that would eventually captivate millions on television. In 2008, he took on a rusted 1968 Chevrolet Corvette, completely rebuilding the 427 big block engine and handcrafting new parts. The car sold for $58,500 after an $8,500 investment, a $50,000 profit, proving that Aron wasn't just mechanically gifted, he had a business mind to match. 2 years later, he attempted a 1970 Dodge Charger body, fitted with a Viper V10 engine. The project was so difficult that it nearly shut down the entire shop. Electronic systems clashed, costs skyrocketed, and for a moment, Richard considered abandoning the project. But Aron's determination paid off. When the car finally came together, it won Best Modified Classic at the Dallas Autorama. Aron's innovative mind sometimes clashed with Rawlings. In 2011, while restoring a 1972 Mustang using recycled parts, including a 351 Cleveland engine from a wrecked Torino and seats from 3 different vehicles, they disagreed over safety versus profit. That October, his modified 1969 Chevy C10 with 720 horsepower exploded at a drag strip, injuring a woman named Maria Rodriguez. Aron personally paid $75,000 to cover medical expenses when insurance refused, an act that forced him to take a 2-year hiatus from racing. Aron's Fast and Loud era began in June 2012, testing his limits from the very first episode. He was challenged to rebuild a 1931 Model A Ford in just 9 days. Throughout Season 1, he and his team completed 12 cars in 24 weeks, often working more than 110 hours per week. The exhaustion was intense. Aron even fell asleep inside a car while cameras rolled. Showers were taken under garden hoses behind the garage, and weekly 14-hour commutes added to the grind. By 2016, it was clear this relentless pace could not continue, laying the groundwork for the dramatic decision that would ultimately define his career. The breaking point: Aron's struggle behind the camera.
So that's one of the things I want to talk about the vacation and maybe extending it a little bit further.
Aron Kaufman faced one of his most intense challenges in 2013, when the Gas Monkey Garage team took on a heavily damaged 1991 Ferrari F40. Richard Rawlings and Dennis Collins had purchased the car for $400,000 after it crashed into a fence. Before the accident, it had only 7,148 miles on the odometer, essentially a near-new supercar. Aron took the lead on the rebuild, stripping the car down to its core with guidance from Ferrari specialists. Every component was upgraded: the twin turbos, exhaust, flywheel, clutch, and even the racing wheels. Behind the scenes, however, conflict simmered. Richard frequently overruled Aron's engineering decisions. The final car was painted black instead of the signature Ferrari red. While the build became the garage's most iconic project, it also highlighted a growing truth. Aron and Richard had very different philosophies on how cars should be built, and that difference was widening into a chasm. By 2016, the tension escalated with the De Tomaso Pantera EcoBoost build, one of the toughest projects Aron had ever managed. The car's complexity pushed him to his limits. Aron believed that completing the build to the highest standards within a television schedule was unrealistic. Even though he was only a few weeks behind, the pressure to cut corners was constant. The car featured a 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine with full-race motorsports turbos, producing 472 horsepower and 498 pound-feet of torque. But Aron wasn't concerned with the specs. His priority was quality. To him, the integrity of the build mattered more than performance numbers. That project became a turning point. He realized that the type of cars he truly wanted to create could not thrive under the constraints of television deadlines and dramatic storytelling. During this time, Aron's personal life also started to unravel. Fame and constant scrutiny wore him down. Panic attacks became frequent, and he admitted that the stress made him consider quitting mid-season. The relentless pace affected his relationships, from his girlfriend to his dogs, and even his team members. He underwent an emergency appendectomy, but returned to the shop within days because filming never stopped. Former colleagues later recalled that the team worked such extreme hours that normal life became almost unrecognizable. To viewers, Aron appeared calm and collected, the iconic bearded mechanic, but internally, he was exhausted and struggling to cope. The Pantera build returned later in 2016 as another source of friction. Despite weeks of dedicated work, Richard criticized Aron for being behind schedule. Private discussions turned heated as they argued over realistic deadlines, budget constraints, and quality control. Aron accused Richard of cutting corners that would jeopardize the car's integrity. It was becoming increasingly evident that the pressures of television drama were overriding craftsmanship, and Aron's passion was being compromised. Everything finally erupted in 2017 during a high-stakes motorcycle build. Richard micromanaged every aspect of the project and frequently overruled Aron in front of the team, undermining his authority. Aron retreated to his office, distancing himself from the crew. Then, in a shocking move, he walked off set in the middle of filming. Production was paused for 3 days while Discovery Channel attempted to mediate. But this was no sudden outburst. Tension had been building for months. What had begun as friendship had devolved into a business negotiation, and Aron had reached his breaking point. Adding insult to injury, leaked documents in 2016 revealed that Aron, the creative heart of the show, was significantly underpaid. Sources indicated that his contributions drove 80% of the show's success, yet his contract failed to reflect that. By 2021, his net worth was estimated at $3 million, while Richard had earned far more. Aron later discovered he was training mechanics who were being groomed to replace him. That realization was the ultimate betrayal. He had been exploited financially and creatively. Aron later described the environment as a creative prison. On a podcast, he explained that the garage had transformed from a true workshop into a TV set. Every build was designed for cameras, not for craftsmanship. He felt trapped in a system where drama mattered more than skill and quality. The final straw came during a custom semi-truck build. Aron had warned the team about significant safety hazards, but Richard pushed for a rapid test drive to capture the perfect footage. The truck almost failed during the run, putting lives at risk. Aron refused to compromise safety for television ratings. He felt his reputation and integrity were under threat, and he would no longer allow shortcuts that endangered others. On March 6, 2017, Aron quietly announced on Facebook that he was leaving Gas Monkey Garage. Fans were stunned. He had been planning the exit for over a year and admitted he had mentally checked out months before. The post read more like a breakup letter than a career decision, sending the fanbase into shock and emotional upheaval. The fallout didn't end there. In June 2018, Richard faced a $6 million lawsuit from Gas Monkey Bar and Grill regarding a $3.5 million sale. Aron was drawn into the case as a key witness. The lawsuit exposed the depth of the dysfunction behind the scenes and settled in August 2019, but the damage to relationships and trust was already done. Aron's own show, Shifting Gears, launched in 2018, but it struggled immediately. Ratings fell sharply, critics were harsh, and Aron appeared exhausted on camera. He admitted feeling burned out. The show lasted just 12 episodes and failed to capture the energy that fans had loved on Fast and Loud. In 2019, additional legal challenges arose. Clients claimed Aron abandoned $300,000 worth of custom car projects, including a Ferrari F40, a 1969 Corvette L88, and a Shelby Super Snake Mustang. Some of these cars were later seized in unrelated fraud cases, damaging his reputation further. In 2020, leaked emails revealed that Richard attempted to bring Aron back with an offer doubling his previous pay and granting full creative control. Aron declined immediately. "You chose TV, I chose building. That's the difference," he stated, walking away for good. Aron's first major build under his new shop, ArcLight Fabrication, shook the industry. He constructed a custom chassis for classic Ford F-100 trucks, selling one for $150,000, far higher than typical market prices, which usually ranged from $30,000 to $60,000. His 15 years at Gas Monkey had honed his skills to near perfection. Every suspension mount, every weld, was executed with precision, often compared to fighter jet engineering. Competitors questioned the prices, but those who saw the craftsmanship understood the value. In 2019, disaster struck at ArcLight. A fire destroyed $50,000 worth of inventory. Faulty wiring, installed by Aron himself to save on costs, sparked the blaze when welding equipment overloaded the circuit. The fire consumed rare 1960s Ford parts, many collected over decades. ArcLight did not have full insurance coverage, forcing Aron to pay the entire loss out of pocket. Despite the setback, he kept operations running, completed customer orders, and remained open, although weeks of work and significant resources were lost. This episode further cemented his reputation as a builder who would persevere through any challenge, no matter the personal cost. Aron Kaufman's electric vision and personal trials.
They're working on usually.
Well, I don't have sockets for completely round net, you know.
Yeah.
No.
Things didn't get any easier for Aron Kaufman in 2020. That year, he introduced electric conversion kits for the classic Ford F-100 trucks that had made his name. Rather than receiving applause, the move ignited fierce debate. The kits used Tesla Model S batteries and cost between $35,000 and $45,000. High, but reasonable considering the engineering involved. Yet traditional Ford purists were outraged. They argued that modifying these vintage trucks was nothing short of sacrilege. At the 2020 SEMA show in Las Vegas, the controversy reached a peak when Aron spent 45 minutes in a heated debate with car historian Jerry Hathaway, who called the conversions a crime against history. The backlash was intense. Over 500 angry emails flooded Aron's inbox. Several customers canceled orders, resulting in more than $200,000 in lost revenue. Automotive clubs threatened boycotts. But amid the storm, a surprising twist emerged. Younger buyers, intrigued by the combination of classic design and modern electric power, began placing deposits. Within 6 months, 150 new customers had committed to electric builds. This revealed a stark reality. The market had divided. Aron was now balancing the fine line between respecting automotive history and leading an innovative electric future. By 2022, Aron opened up in a rare interview about struggles he had kept private. In 2018, ArcLight Fabrication had been just 60 days away from collapse. Losing the $35,000 per episode paycheck he earned on Fast and Loud had created an immediate financial vacuum. Startup loans totaling $750,000 weighed heavily on the young company, and early sales were slow. In a desperate move to make payroll, Aron sold his personal 1963 Ford Falcon race car, which he had built for the Pikes Peak hill climb, fetching $65,000. Loan applications were rejected by 5 banks, and his debt-to-income ratio had ballooned past 300%. The turning point came with a partnership with Restamod Air, which injected $400,000 into ArcLight. Even then, he had already laid off 4 employees and had skirted bankruptcy. None of these struggles made it to television, but for Aron, they were a harsh reality. By 2024, everything changed dramatically. ArcLight fabrication wasn't merely surviving, it was thriving. Surprisingly, the shop's most profitable segment wasn't full truck builds, it was wheels. Aron's custom F100 wheel line alone generated $2 million annually, with sets priced between $2,800 and $4,200. Influencers began showcasing them on Instagram, sparking international demand from Germany, Australia, the UK, and beyond. Shipping costs alone ranged from $800 to $1,200 per set, yet buyers were willing to pay. Online sales now accounted for 78% of revenue, compared to just 23% in 2019. Aron had transformed a local workshop into a global e-commerce brand, entirely independent of television exposure. Yet behind the financial success, personal challenges loomed. Rumors circulated in 2020 about strains in Aron's marriage to Charlene Fleming. The couple had been together for more than 10 years before marrying in 2018. Friends noted that Aron's 16-hour workdays left little time for family. He was often seen at industry events alone, without a wedding ring. Close sources recounted arguments over his priorities, with work often taking precedence. In 2021, they sought therapy, though Aron remained private about the relationship in subsequent interviews. The mental and emotional toll of leaving Fast and Loud was significant. Aron admitted that losing the daily exposure and fame hit him hard. One day, he was a national television star. The next, he was a small shop owner trying to sell chassis parts. Panic attacks became common, and he struggled with self-doubt. For over a year, he attended therapy twice a week, including EMDR sessions, which helped him process the anxiety that had accumulated over years of public pressure. Slowly, he regained mental clarity and emotional stability. Health issues further complicated his journey. In March 2021, while working alone late at night, Aron collapsed in his shop. His appendix had ruptured, and he was discovered unconscious at 3:47 a.m. beside a partially assembled F100 chassis. He was rushed to Dallas Presbyterian Hospital. The surgery lasted 6 hours due to widespread infection, and a second emergency procedure followed after he developed peritonitis. ArcLight fabrication remained closed for nearly 4 months, resulting in an estimated $340,000 in lost business. This life-threatening incident forced Aron to reevaluate his work habits. He hired more staff and pledged never to work alone at night again, understanding that no project was worth risking his life. Financial pressures continued to mount. In late 2021, Aron had invested $1.2 million in cryptocurrency, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, and even car-themed altcoins. By mid-2022, 85% of his investments were gone, erasing $1.02 million from his personal savings. To recover, he mortgaged his Dallas shop and sold 2 rare F100 trucks, including a 1956 prototype valued at $180,000. The losses also delayed his dream Route 66 documentary project by more than a year. In November 2024, Aron made a dramatic return to the spotlight. At the SEMA show, he unveiled a secret project. He had been quietly acquiring vehicles with deep historical ties to Route 66. The plan was to restore 12 iconic cars, including a 1949 Ford F1 and a 1962 Chevy Impala that appeared in the original Route 66 TV series. He partnered with the National Park Service and the Smithsonian Institution. Discovery Channel expressed interest in documenting the project as a new series. The budget exceeded $2.3 million, funded through a combination of crowdfunding and private collectors. This ambitious endeavor marked the pinnacle of Aron's vision for historical preservation fused with modern craftsmanship. Simultaneously, ArcLight began integrating classic design with electric innovation. Vintage trucks were restored to appear original, but powered with Tesla-level battery technology. His Austin facility became a hybrid workshop, blending traditional metalwork with modern electric systems. This strategy positioned him as a pioneer in sustainable hot rodding, appealing to both collectors and forward-thinking enthusiasts. By 2023, Aron's net worth had rebounded to $8 million. His Austin shop now handled full F100 restorations priced between $75,000 and $150,000. Brand partnerships with MagnaFlow, Sierra Cars, and other companies flourished. He continued racing at Pikes Peak and drove a modified 2004 Ford F-150 daily to test innovations. He also produced independent shows, maintaining full creative control. Every move reflected a commitment to independence, quality, and ongoing innovation. Aron has reflected candidly on the impact of television fame. He described the grueling 110-hour workweeks required to create camera-ready drama and admitted that this was never aligned with his true goals. Leaving Gas Monkey Garage was not merely a business decision. It was a dedication to building things that mattered to him. Today, despite near bankruptcies, health scares, legal battles, and public criticism, Aron continues to pursue projects that inspire him. His journey is a testament to resilience, innovation, and unwavering commitment to craftsmanship, proof that he would rather face personal and professional trials than compromise on his vision. Aron Kaufman's journey is more than cars, more than television fame, more than headlines. It's a story of resilience, creativity, and refusing to compromise on what matters most. From a small trailer in Crowley, Texas, to building global recognition with ArcLight fabrication, he has faced accidents, financial disasters, public criticism, and personal struggles. And yet, he never stopped building. Every truck, every chassis, every electric conversion tells a story of dedication, risk, and heart. Leaving Fast and Loud wasn't just a career move, it was a choice to reclaim his craft, his independence, and his sanity. He transformed failures into lessons, setbacks into opportunities, and controversy into innovation. Today, whether he's restoring a Route 66 classic, racing at Pikes Peak, or creating wheels that ship across the globe, Aron is proof that true passion cannot be silenced. So when you see an ArcLight truck gliding down the road, or a custom F100 in a magazine, remember it's more than metal and paint. It's a story of perseverance, vision, and a man who chose building over being built by the system. Aron Kaufman didn't just leave a show, he built a legacy.